All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. And they say that the society has only two people, not even three, and the ones who reform it and the ones who don't. So there's no other third person because there is no fence sitter. And you are on to another interesting episode where I believe that we are all reformers or society destroyer. Yeah, you must belong to a group. Again, I say welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, Kike Atanda-Owo, and of course, I think it's important for us to hear what On This Day Industry segment has for us today. When I return, I give my submission on it. Stay with me. I'll be right back.
On this day in history, December 14th, 2011, the Pan-African University is launched by the African Union as a continental initiative in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The university will have branches in 5 African sub-regions which will specialize in areas chosen for their strategic significance to Africa's development. Algeria, water and energy sciences, including climate change. Kenya, basic science, technology and innovation. Nigeria, life and earth sciences. Cameroon, governance, humanities and social sciences. And South Africa, space sciences.
All right, many thanks for staying with me. I believe that what this On This Day Industry segment has for us today is about the Pan-African University that was initiated by the African Union in Addis Ababa, and it symbolizes unity and progress for me. You know, that's my takeaway from On This Day Industry segment. And with branches in key African regions, you know, including Nigerian focusing on what is it again? I think vital sectors, you know, that focuses on development, you know, addressing challenges such as climate change, you know, business, you know, leadership, technology, and of course governance. I think that's my takeaway from On This Day Industry segment. So on this note, I think it's time for me to, you know, let's listen to a message from my sponsors, and when I return, the main conversation will continue. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with us. In this fourth installment of this series, I persist in my mission to honor and spotlight the remarkable contribution of influential figures in the Nigerian media landscape over the past 1 year, and of course over the last 2 or 3 decades. You know, this episode shifts focuses, you know, focus to a distinguished media entrepreneur and of course a journalist and a broadcaster whose multifaceted career has left an incredible mark on the industry or in the media industry. And of course, the primary objective of this episode is to provide my audience with a comprehensive exploration, you know, of our guest journey, their insights, the impact on Nigerians' media, and of course society at large. And on the live show today, my guest is a renowned journalist and media entrepreneur, a woman whose career in publishing and media entrepreneur has added immense value, you know, to our society, you know, over the last 3 decades, and she has, you know, extensively impacted Nigerians with, you know, seriously speaking and CW conversation. I feel that by now people should have a clue to who I'm talking about, but she's a woman, you know, I believe that our experience is bound to be different, or is different from the journey of others, and our views about the last 365 days is something that we'll be bringing to forward today, knowing that, you know, in the media industry, she's one of the voices that a lot of people reckon with, and she's a thought, an open thoughts, you know, provoking person who I believe that will be bringing a lot of realness and truthfulness to discussion on the table today. But before I delve further, let me hold my breath. Let's even get to see her profile. far. And when I return, you will be seeing my guest. Stay with me. I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with us, and I want to say welcome, Mrs. Atanda-Owo. Right? Correct?
Oh, good job.
Good job. Many thanks for being on the lunch show today. I must say that I'm starstruck. You're one of the few women in the industry that I hold in high esteem. I don't use words.
I'll take it.
I'm very real, and I don't patronize people anyhow, but truly you've impacted me in my career growth when it comes to women that I can say that I look up to. I always tell people that don't go and get a role model that doesn't know that but you're one of those few people that I can tell you that I've read so much about you, and I feel really, really honored to have you on the platform today. Many thanks. Even though I had to go through the back door to make sure that I get you here in the studio, I'm like, no, I have to do everything. I have to use my power as a woman to just say, yeah, press this button for me. Absolutely. And thank you so much for honoring my invite. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Very well. I mean, because like I said, what's the first thing I'm going to say when I get here? Actually, and I told you as I came in, people should learn to use what they have to get what they want.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure I'm very familiar with Real Talk with Kike. I mean, I follow work, and in the past year, I'm sure I've watched less television than I've watched in a long time. You know what I mean? And so when I got a call from your husband, it didn't take me 2 seconds to say yes. Because you see, the world is a world where the best currency you can ever have, right, is goodwill. Goodwill. Absolutely. And so I never take goodwill for granted. That's what I feed on now in terms of what I work. Right. So once he called me, that was all you needed to do. However, if you had called me and got me at a good time, where it's not too much trouble for me, I'll do it. Because you're female and you're hardworking, and I'll support you. I'll do it. But the faster way was the back door that you opened. That will never fail. And I must tell you that, many times, even though my husband and I, we are in the same profession, you don't want to use that. I try as much as possible to just cut him off, to say, no, this is my fee. I know my onions. Absolutely. And sometimes when I needed to use him to say, okay,
Can I use
We're not going to say your husband is.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay. Let me say one of the veteran in the industry, you know. And sometimes when you now ask him, can you help me reach out to someone, you realize that he now wants to teach you the job. He wants to tell you what, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Can you please take a step back? And that is where we climb. But of course, I appreciate him, and I'm very glad to have you in the studio today. So let's just go straight to the topic at hand. You know, you are a media practitioner, you know, of over 3 decades, just like I said earlier. And I would like to describe you as somebody who has a relationship with journalism. I like what you said earlier, that goodwill gives access.
Absolutely.
You know, that's my takeaway from what you've just said. And I know that the world that we live in today, most of the time I feel that is an opportunistic world. How do you differentiate from your media practice, you know, when it comes to connecting with people, genuine people, and also you being an interviewer on air on how to maintain relationship?
Well, you see, let me say the fact that the media is so democratized now makes what you're trying to say a little more difficult, where the reason anybody wants to be on air may be because they want to be seen or to be identified for one thing or the other. So you're not too sure who's doing it for altruistic reasons. It's good to want to be seen and identified. But what are you being seen and identified as and for what? You know, when I went to school, all I wanted to do was to be in a field where I could help people understand things better. It wasn't about whether they would know me or they wouldn't know me. I just wanted to be able to help people understand things better. And that's the way I approach everything that I do on the job. So when I'm interviewing, I'm thinking about what will the viewer or what should, well, the viewer go away with. Not whether the person is the best in the world or what is it about this person that my viewers can learn. So if I get a mileage from that, by being able to bring to you someone who's being genuine and real with me, I'm happiest. So, and what happens is vicariously, if you do your job well, you will get all of those things anyway. So how do I separate wanting to get a good interview, right, and wanting to be seen as somebody who's great at a job, if that's what I understood your question to be. So what drives me is not wanting to be seen, or wanting the viewer or the reader, as it may be, to understand the person, the issue, or whatever it is I'm discussing.
Fantastic. And I like the insights right there. You know, on this platform, since my reversion to media, because I read mass communication in school.
I went away.
And, you know,
because there's no money inside.
Not necessarily, you know, because I had to branch out to maybe other good things that I can say that have impacted. I've impacted in terms of, I went into telecommunication, you know, banking, consulting,
Kike,
financial, you know,
Kike,
name it.
Tell
But
me it wasn't about money.
Well,
so frankly,
you know, it's like we are even drifting to another conversation, and I like it. I like it because, you know, if it's about money, I don't think that I've returned to media. That's the honest truth.
Absolutely.
Because in my previous world, you know, as a consultant, you know, working with a lot of top organizations where you are the one calling the shots. At least I rose to the position of vice president in my last paid employment before I left the organization, where I have over almost 30 boys outside the country, you know, in Ivy League schools, which most of them today are citizens of America. They are also footballers right now, and the likes are not. I'm working closely with the likes of late Miles Moron and a whole lot of, you know, international speakers. For me, was the value, not necessarily about the money, in as much as, yes, you are rubbing shoulders with people in the corridor of power and all of that. But my reversion to media was about soul calling. You know, at some point, I got bored. I was like, what's next? It's like I've gotten to that place, and I'm just like in media right now. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, what's next for me? Yes, you know, what do I do next? Because sometimes, you know, for people who are very restless, you want to actually say, okay, I'm eating it. But my reversion to media,
you know, be careful, Kike. You know, when you're talking to people like me, who are you say you want to interview the interviewer.
Yeah.
Now, who's interviewing who?
No, you're the one interviewing me. Which is real.
But that's real.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah,
and when I was saying that, I wasn't quite saying that, hey, look, it's because the truth is the media, it shouldn't be about money. You can't make money out of it. And you're doing
about
this
the
now
passion.
from your heart.
Yeah.
You know. So when you refer to media.
So my reversion to media, I was so sure that I didn't want to be a staff to any media organization.
Absolutely.
You know, I felt that I've gotten to a place in my career that it would be a slap in my face when I already have a company, a company that is running, and being a staff in another organization is like, people will be asking me, are you sure you know what you're doing? You know, so I use the same organization that I still have till date, my consulting firm, my corporate consulting firm, where I facilitate trainings, you know, for top organizations, N1bn, N1bn, and the likes and all that. So I use that same thing that I have to get what you have, what you see today. So I started reaching out to people that I'm returning to media, and you know, I need sponsorship and all that, and everybody jumped on board
because
people
felt like yourself.
yes, people felt like, okay, yes, it's time for us to just, you know, support you. You talk, and they like that, and we know that you have passion for what you do, and that's what bettered Real Talk with Kike today. And thank you for asking me. You know, I said it, I'm going to learn so much with you today, but let's stick to the topic. We'll try, guys. Let's stick to the topic at hand, because staring back at 365 days in the Nigerian context, if you ask me, I feel like someone like you would definitely have a perspective or an opinion or fair perspective to how the nation have done thus far in the journey after election. What's your take on this, man?
Well, to be asking me this, it's very raw for me, because this election opened up a lot of things, and I just wished, oh God, I wish I was in the media. That's why independent media is very important. But even if media is independent, it's difficult to run media or to run your ideas without people jumping to the gun and say you have an opinion. As an interviewer, you really shouldn't have an opinion, but the opinion exists anyway. Absolutely. I don't think people should apologize for what they believe in. Now, I believe in a Nigeria that is equity and justice, right? Equity and justice is where everybody is taken care of and they're comfortable in their skin wherever it is that they are. I've lived in Lagos now for over 35 or 36 years. I started my career in Benin, because I mean, that was where my parents were. I schooled in Ife, but I started off in Benin as a teacher, but I knew I was going to end up in the media. So I ended up in the media, and I started my career at home, because I knew that I couldn't survive here. I had nobody. How much was the salary of anybody who was working in the media? So my marriage brought me back here, and that's 35 years ago. And I've been in this industry all of this time. First, as a reporter, then as a presenter, and then later I pulled out to begin to do my stuff myself. But with my organization, for a long time, people thought, oh, she works with NTA. But I became self-employed more or less. I was paying NTA for my time. The value that NTA brought was the fact that they could give me credit and I could survive. But now, so having lived here all these years, it's this time that has finally dawned on me that our differences are so deep. We've not realized how, when they said Lagos is a no man's land, people reacted so terribly to it. Because quite frankly, Lagos belongs to everybody who lives here. Anywhere in Nigeria should belong to anybody who lives there. Do you get? So, but this election proved that we actually are looking at ourselves in different ways. And I'm like, my goodness. I saw things that happened, right? I have a son who came back home. I have 7 kids, right? One of them came back home. The others are out of here. Came back home and he's tried to be part of it. What he saw at the governorship elections, he called me. I wasn't here. I had to go home for an event. I was only here for the presidential. He said, Mama, they are lifting ballot boxes. They've destroyed the whole place. I live in a place called Osaka, which is very rural to the extent that even though it's in the town, and we try to do what we can, right? They have lifted. I am so disappointed in Nigeria. I can't believe it. And they're telling us, go away, you Igbo people. Man, I won't lie to you. I'm totally disillusioned, totally. And I don't know how the government in power can make this better. My own personal opinion, people should begin to learn to find their roots. Go back home if you feel you're not welcome here. And it's just so sad that we are seeing ourselves as different.
I like what you've just said, because I feel that we've drifted from one administration to another this year, from after election to post-election, and the challenges that you've also brought to the table right now is not something that we can shy away from, however we look at it, because I feel that the election tribunal to where we are today have actually shown a lot of divide that is going on right here in Nigeria, especially in Lagos to be precise. So I could have asked a political guest on the show to say, oh, what's your take or what's your answer to the issue I just asked. But I just felt that for someone like you, who I believe is confident, who have the courage, who also will speak the truths to the issue at hand, I felt that you should tell us your own perspective regarding the performance of this administration and its future. Because as it is, we've seen that from the get-go of him coming into
that's the national or the state,
the federal,
or both,
or both really. From removing subsidy to coming back to the states where you and I live, where you see a lot of fractions and the like. What's your take regarding the future of this administration?
Let me tell you what happened to me this week. I ordered a bowl of fried rice, right? And I ordered it for Sunday meal, right, on a Saturday. And it came, it was too hot. I didn't put it in the fridge. By the next morning, it was bad. And I felt so bad. It was 15,000 naira for a tray. So my son said, look, Mama, look, let's just fry it again. Let's refry the fried rice. So we fried it and ate our thing. So I called the lady who I ordered it from and I said, listen, Sandra, you know, say that rice spoiling. He said, Mama, the second time, how did this happen? I said, look, I fry and chop my tea, you know. Pardon my pidgin English.
It's okay. It's got real
and
talk.
then, you know what she said? She said, I mean, I can't say verbatim, but she said, Mama, for this Tinubu era, person not the true way food, we don't spoil. You know, and it just dawned on me that that's the truth. We are being, for what, it is tough, it is difficult. You can't raise fuel subsidy. To fill my tank, 50,000 won't even do it. I have not filled my tank since that time. 75K. I haven't filled it. That's true. I was telling my driver today, say, look, if I said, look, it looks like we'll try and fill this tank once. Make me see as it is. Let's see what it's like. I can't imagine. I can't fill my tank. How do people move? My driver comes from somewhere in Mowe or somewhere. He pays 8,000 naira to get to the work, to the office. I mean, so how do they survive? Government should be looking at how can they make this thing easier. You say you release 100 buses. How many people can 100 buses carry? What they need to do is to ensure that food is cheap. If food is cheap and transport, because people go out in Lagos, they've increased fuel, people are still on the road because they have to feed. They have to go out to work. You know, in the interim, they must ensure that food, even if it means subsidizing food for people to a particular level, give them food. You can't go and be buying a tuber of yam for 4,000 naira, 2,500. How many people will eat it? What are they going to eat? Gari is expensive. Rice is expensive. You can't even begin to talk about it. And when emotions are raw, when you feel like you don't belong, wherever it is that you are, whether you are in Kaduna, or you are in Lagos, or you are in Delta, if you don't feel like you belong, there's nothing government will tell you that you will accept. Which is why a state government like Lagos must make sure it tries to let people understand that it is not about your tribe. It's about making sure things work for everyone who's here. But if it's about drive all of us away, let's go back to our home. Yeah.
And which is not possible anyways.
You can't tell. People just have to go small by small, like they say.
You're right, but we need that human that human power, right?
That's what makes Lagos vibrant.
Exactly.
The melting pot
the mix and
of cultures,
yes, of course,
and people.
Of course,
you know.
Of course. Many thanks for keeping it real. You know, I'm trying to manage time right now. I've been looking at my phone, making sure that they don't start running commentary in my ears. But I have two questions for you because as today's woman, you know, the magazine that I've grown over the years, which I feel that, you know, I need to ask you about what aspect of your journey, you know, are you most grateful for? You know, I brought 3 legend or media practitioners. I've asked them this question because I feel that your work must have impacted so many people, people like me, you know, readers, fans, and friends, and all of that. Which part can you say that you are most grateful for? That's the first question. My second question is the fact that you mentioned a shift of the digital space, you know, and I would like you to elaborate on it because I feel that that decision to move away from print, you know, and what your readers can actually anticipate from this digital space. For someone like me, I struggled with digital. I was never on social media, I must confess to you. I just joined social media about 4 years ago, but if you go on my social media space, have beaten them to it. I manage my social media page myself. Just like when it comes to Real Talk with Kike, I don't have a producer, nothing in the last 4 years
You're
plus,
the
in almost
producer.
5 years. I'm the executive producer, the producer, the scriptwriter, I name everything and all of that. And I think it has to do with the passion that you've just mentioned. But sticking to the issue at hand, you know, what's that digital edition that you feel that CW Conversation will be having soon that your readers should look forward to, and the most impactful of your journey thus far in the media industry?
When I set out to say I wanted to talk to women, right, in terms of, you know, by the time I was starting, when I started Today's Woman on television, there was literally nothing on TV about women. It was because of my job, having gone through the work and finding that when you wanted to interview women, they'd be a bit shy. Oh, I don't want to talk, you know. And I'm like, shy is nothing, really. So they need to be comfortable with the person before they could open up. It's about comfortable. So I said, okay, I'll start doing this primarily because I wanted women to see their type on television and be inspired by it. Not even women, everyone to be inspired by what women could achieve, right? Without giving up anything of what their personal dreams are. If your personal dream is to be a family woman, then you can't do everything if you want. It's about your dream and ensuring that family is safe and your dreams are safe. So I find, and this is in retrospect, I find that if there's anything I'm most grateful to God for, it's for sticking to that dream of just saying, I'm talking to women. Men watch my show, but they do understand women better, right? They get to see, because women are comfortable to talk to me. Men watch my show. I sought out to let women see their type so that they'll be empowered. Empowerment is not about giving somebody money.
Yes.
Empowerment is about letting people see that opportunities exist even for you. And you give somebody, when you give somebody knowledge, knowledge is power, but knowledge is power only if you use it. So now when you see people who've used knowledge and become something, you're empowered to do other things. So women see me and they're like, I can do this. You know, I remember the first time it hit me, the impact of what I was doing, was when I was in Niger State on an assignment. I went to do something with the first lady, I remember. A young boy ran, this Today's Woman that makes my mother burn soup every Wednesday night. Because his mom is anxious to watch it. So I said, oh, this is great,
That's
right?
great.
And when people started saying, oh, I like your show, and I keep asking, what for? Is it what I wear? Is it what I do? I said, okay, people are too taken over by
Physical
beauty is
appearance.
fading now.
Yeah, I know.
I said, okay, go to print,
Yeah.
go to press, and begin to do stuff. So now I have moved with time as it came. I didn't move as quickly to digital because I was challenged. I had no clue about digital. But I eventually took Today's Woman on print to digital. And the same thing with everything that I do now. I do stuff, I have a YouTube channel, I put things there, people can watch it. Fortunately now, you watch, if you like, you watch, if you like, you not watch, I can survive. My children are finished going to school, right? So I'm not struggling for followers or whatever I have. So all those is done for me. So now I'm retired semi to doing things the way I want to do it. I mean, I'm doing, when I feel like, I did a series last year, I called it In-Depth. I just wanted to have conversations around people who are preparing for elections. And I did it. I did about 8. And that's it. It's parked there. I probably do another 8 now, so when I want. So to answer your question, impact is to see that women have watched me over the years and I've been able to become because I was or because I am. That for me is impact. And the second thing is digital. Yeah, we're there. The new thing that would probably happen now is, interestingly, my daughter took interest in what I'm doing. She's an architect. And recently I said, Mama, I think I want to do this. So maybe she has more savvy. I told her, I can't pay you the kind of money that pay me your architect, but you can take it somewhere else. So it gives me joy to see that she's interested. Even if it's not fully, she can take that my digital space to somewhere that will give me confidence that, madam, you don't try.
Fantastic one right there. And I must say, well done with everything that you've done. You've impacted so many people. And I like the fact that you've mentioned women and looking at the involvement of women in politics and media affairs right now. You know, we can say that we are adding numbers. Let me be fair, you know, because the appointment of the likes of Beta Edu, you know, Anatu Musawa, what's her name? Adizat Usman. She's one of my orgas in NPA. She used to give me training jobs, you know, and all of that. You know, I feel that in this administration, maybe they have, to some extent, I stand to be corrected, they've tried a little. So I would like to hear your view of the performance of the women given this room for involvement. Also, I feel that in media, you know, I must say that, and I'm keeping it real on this platform, you know, I struggle with the fact that when you reach out to top women, because I'm very deliberate about the kind of people that I want to bring on this series of Interview the Interviewer. I feel that there are a lot of newbies in the media industry that should learn from people like you. And I had to go through the back door, to reach out to someone like you. Yes, even though I don't want to mention some other people's name and the likes and all of that, I felt that sometimes the women are not also too embracing of other women. I'm just trying to keep it real on this platform. So with the women that you've spoken about, the fact that you've been able to reach quite a number of women, how were you able to navigate all of that? And at the same time, let's compare it to the involvement of women in politics and media space today.
Okay, 2 questions. My age, I'm beginning to forget. I hope I remember the second one. But let me take the first one, which is women who have been appointed. We know that when a good woman is appointed, they'll deliver more.
Absolutely.
To the extent that it's not as if women, because what do we worry about? Corruption and stuff like that. I'm not saying there are no corrupt women, but women are more likely to think about the good of everyone.
Absolutely.
And so
we are nurturers.
Yes, so I'm more confident that if women are there, they are more likely.
The good women.
Yes, they're more likely to do better, right? And I don't know about whether the government has got it right or not, but I know that the people didn't get it right. 96% of all the women who ran for office lost this time. 96%, that's a lot. And it's saying to the women who were bold enough to come and run for office, we couldn't even vote for them. There's still a lot to be said. We must wait for them to be appointed. We need to begin to vote for women. Quite frankly, we do everything we can. And it starts from the party bringing out women. Party brought out women. 96% of them didn't make it. The numbers in the House and in the Senate have even dropped from what it was the last time. What is this about our people? That we still can't trust that women can take on leadership positions? Maybe that's what it is. In fact, that's room for research. Now, one of the things I'm doing is actively getting involved in research, because life can only move with data.
Absolutely.
When data is there, you can speak and say, yes, this is what it is. What is it that's holding us back? I'm doing research now on women empowerment to find out what is it, how has it affected our society, positive or negative? What is empowerment in our area? Because I'm preparing a TEDx talk along that area. And that's the problem. I'm saying it here so that I won't go and not do it.
I will hold you accountable.
So I won't go and not do it. I must do it. Because we must see the impact of empowerment on our people. I'm asking questions. Where you have a society today where the women are moving forward, it looks like the men are moving in the other direction. What have we done wrong? Marriages are coming and breaking. Is empowerment wrong? Are we wrong? Do women trust the women? Do men trust the kind of women that we have today? Or are women not managing empowerment well? What's happening? They didn't vote for women. So we have to wait for men to appoint us before we can get position. Come on.
I think there's something that you've mentioned right now, and there's a follow-up question to that. But quickly, let me use this opportunity to open the phone lines.
Phone lines?
Yes, in case you just joined the show, today's conversation is strictly interviewing the interviewer. And on our 4th series today, this is the 4th episode of Interviewing the Interviewer. I have a powerful woman, a reputable journalist, I must emphasize, and of course a media entrepreneur. And she's a household name right from the days of Newsline with Frank. And I must say many thanks, Mrs. Adesua, for all that you've shared us. But truly, this is the interviewer was turned around when we started, and I love it. And it shows the realness in you and how passionate you are in what you have been doing thus far. And again, remember that the number to call is 08098877400, showing on your screen right now. And we're streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube page, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and on Silverbird platform. Ma, there's something you mentioned before, I had to
don't mind, Kike. Do you want to write that down?
Yeah.
What you want to ask me? Let me just respond to the second question, which is about why don't women open up to other women, right? And especially women in the media. You're going to invite some people. You invited me. I don't know whether you've ever invited me. If you had invited me on your own.
I have before, actually.
So, you invited me. One has to be persistent. How did you do it? It's only your pedigree that people will respond to.
Absolutely.
I don't care about what platform it is. The kind of place I appear, it's not because there are people are watching it. Because I always believe that what you need to cause a ripple is just one stone.
Absolutely.
You put it inside and it goes. God might be wanting to use me to talk to one person. So I'm not about the numbers. But it's about what is that person about? What I had advised, what I used to do was to personally call people and talk to them and convince them on the why. It's not about making my show anything. It's about making people get to know what it is.
Okay,
right?
so this is a takeaway for me.
Yeah.
For me, if I bail someone, I think you've just educated me further. If I bail you once and I call you the second time, you must be rest assured I will not bail you the third time. Yes, that's how I am. I'm of the opinion that I want to showcase you. I want to showcase your work. And I believe that you are, whether a man or a woman, you are somebody, because I will never stick to anybody who I believe that is not a stakeholder that people can actually listen to and take away from them. So when I call you the first time, the second time, I will not bail you the third time. My husband, then he would say that you have ego. I said, please, I didn't get here by just sleeping around or doing anything.
That's what they call.
And I feel that women actually, you know, I find my way better with men. I must be real on this platform. Not because she's a pretty face, because most of the time I've tried to prove to people that I'm more than a pretty face. I have something to bring to fore, and that is where I've gotten to where I got to today. But I feel that women are not comfortable with other women who are really.
That's not it. You have to be sure somebody's real. Let me tell you something. What I do till tomorrow, and my friends always ask. I had a friend. Well, in fact, I don't know if you know Helen Press. She was beauty queen sometime a long ago.
I do.
One day she called me and said, this one, you're the only person that I know that takes permission to call somebody. You're the only, and I'll do a text. Are you available to talk? I always text first. And I'll text once, twice, 3 times. Tell me, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to, whether it's small or big. Let me know when is a convenient time, because that's how I want to be treated. If you call me off the cuff, I'll take it as rude because I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
So if you did call me, I'll just ignore it. I won't respond as warmly as I would with a text. If you call me and say, can you kindly text? You know, I told you, I'm faster on WhatsApp. Can you text? So I can take time to read, consider, see what you've done.
It's a big takeaway for
it's
me.
worth it. My husband says it's a waste of time. I said, no, because I know how I want to be treated.
That's respecting people's time.
Absolutely. You don't know what they're doing at that time. That tells me that you are concerned about my time. You don't butt into my time.
All right, fantastic. I'm trying to manage time right now. Oh my goodness, I wish they can extend the time belt for me today.
You take talk like so what question are you going to ask?
No, I'm not forgotten.
I told you to write it down.
But I think I wanted to get to, in your own perspective, how has this the portrayal of women in the media changed since you started? Because today's woman on TV and 2 decades ago, are women celebrated enough in today's media landscape? What's your take on it? Do you think that we are celebrated enough, or we've been celebrated enough?
What are we celebrated for? Who celebrates you, right? I believe that because the landscape, like I told you, is democratized. Anybody can own their media. You can own your medium. Anybody can. It's not Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. But because everybody's looking for people to look at them, they do all kinds of things to get attention. You know what I mean?
Needing the tool to validate you.
Absolutely. So we don't, look, like I say, I haven't been very active on Instagram for like maybe 6 months. I choose my time. The last time I was active was my birthday, because I wanted to share a particular message. So I curated certain things, and I did it. And then I was thinking of Christmas. I said, go, you're right, I'm tired. And I didn't do anything. So if people say, you know, your viewers, your followers, they will find me one day.
Exactly.
When I have something to say. I'm not just going to go there because, you know. So are we celebrated? That shouldn't bother us. We should celebrate ourselves. Nobody's going to celebrate you, really. Fortunately, we don't need people to celebrate us. We should celebrate each other. But we should also support each other. I do understand what you're saying about women who have gone past it. I don't know how many women you will interview, you will invite, and they will just come. However, I advise, do a little reel of the things you've done, what you want to do, why you want to do it. I mean, some people say, how many people are watching the show? What channel is it on?
Lunch.
Is it a lunch hour? Is it on what channel? Prime time? Is it? Who cares about prime time? You're good at what you do.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter when you show.
Absolutely.
I love that.
I love that. Because
I don't care. So if I want to talk to you, I'm talking to people who are out there, right? I don't know about doing you a favor or you doing me a favor. Except I don't have anything. It's only people who can't be real that are afraid of being taken unawares. So when you interview them, they want to. What questions are you asking? Yours is this. I used to agree. I will send you a question. When you come here, it will change. because you're conversing.
Well, no, the first
always be
the very first time I interviewed a legend, I don't want to put him under the, put him under the...
A guy,
and he asked me, and we are both in the same industry, and he said, please send me questions ahead. That was the first time ever, since my reversion to media. I felt I worked with different media channels before branching out to other things, and he said, send me questions. I felt like, that means I'm not going to be real on the platform. Why is he asking me? But I felt, okay, he said he just wanted to test who I was, how I think,
absolutely,
and all of that. I said, interesting. And since then, I think the only person that have asked me to was another guy. So when he asked me, I was ready to bombard him. Okay, let's bring it on. So many thanks.
I guess, okay, they want to be prepared for the area of conversation. What area, what are your interests, what are you going to do?
True.
And that helps. Because if they are professionals, if they've been interviewed, I always tell people, because I do media training, I tell them, I say, listen, if you're going to answer questions, they can send you questions though. The thing about being a good interviewer is to be able to come up with very good follow-up questions.
Absolutely. Many thanks. I do that.
If I send you questions, you can come here and something else will happen.
Based on your response. Absolutely. And all of that.
So don't go there and think, just agree on the areas of conversation. I say, look, I don't want to go this way. You have to agree. I don't want to talk about this. Right? I don't want to talk about this. Even with my print, when I'm done with an interview, girl, the things that I hear, because you're comfortable with me, you're real, they will agree, okay, this part, let's not make this part public. You decide if you want to make it public or not. And I respect their opinion. But if they say, I don't want people to know about it, I say, listen, it's your opportunity to let people understand that you are real. I convince them, and we find a way to write a story that people will understand. So people reserve the right to decide on what they will share with the public. All
right, many thanks again. They've started running commentary in my ears. You have to manage your time. My technical director if you dare talk, no,
but that's the truth.
Well, I know. But I'm actually enjoying you right now. Many thanks for your presence. Your presence is something that I really hold so high. And I must ask you this, because with your own extensive experience, I believe that you must have advice for aspiring journalists in the media entrepreneurship, looking to make an impact in the industry like someone like you. And my second question is the fact that you've mentioned technology. I personally, like I said earlier, I struggled with it. I had my own experience with using tech, particularly in social media, and as a media entrepreneur yourself, knowing that you've moved to print, how have you been able to manage that technology or see the technology in terms of impact on distribution and consumption of media content? How did it actually influence the decision to embrace that digital space, knowing that the Gen Z of today, that's the only thing they know? How have you been able to tap into that?
Employ the Gen Zs.
Yes.
Employ the Gen Zs. I know my limitations.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why I was worried about media. Since the fact that we started to pay, just click and you send money. Right? You can make a mistake. I will look at the zeros to be sure that
you've done over
overwritten or underwritten. So it's just that the immediacy of the digital space should come with a lot of responsibility.
Absolutely.
So as I'm careful in writing the numbers, I should be careful in what I click to send and share with other people. That's what I see missing in the media today. You should be very sure that this is exactly what I want to portray. If you decide that, I have a friend who, she did have a space, just dancing. Because she's danced and she became very popular. I said, look, because I dance and praise, that's who I am. Dancing was it. So people started to think, I will call her name because she's popular, NHN. But everybody started thinking that, okay, if I dance like NHN, then I will be getting followers. No, she was doing that thing not to get followers. She was doing it to share herself. Let's forget about the followers and the people that come along with us. Although it's what makes us money because of social influencing, right? Find something else that you can do, that you can sell, that you have value for, that will earn you money, and have fun on your social media pages. Selling something that will help other people. So if you are clicking that button, whatever it is you're sharing, be sure that 20 years from now, you will
because
be
the reference points, yeah, it's a reference. So many
Very
thanks for sharing that. I think this might be my last question to you. Everybody in the technical room have been saying, oh my God, we wish we have more than an hour. Can I say, oh my God, can you please not tell me to turn off the to end the show? You know, but you know, your role on Ultimate Love and hosting a presidential chat with President Goodluck Jonathan at the time is something I want to touch on, because I felt that during that period it was a notable engagement.
Absolutely.
You know, so how were you able to balance your various roles, you know, in terms of engagement and the media entertainment industry, and still having 7 kids? Because when you drop that, hey, 7 kids in the world that we live in today, how do you have that family balance?
In recent times, since I went to train to be a life coach, I realized that it's not about balance, it's about harmony. I didn't know what word to use for it. I used to think it's harmony, because you see, even a scale, right? If you put something here that is less than this, it will come down. You know, and sometimes something enters here, the scale is never like this. It must shift.
Yes.
We must understand that life it's never like this. It can never be.
Never balanced.
It's never balanced. So harmony is when you know that, okay, this is not balanced. You see, it's not okay, but I'm okay with it not being okay yet. So the yet makes it like, okay, right now I'm working, and I'm working till 9 p.m. because I was on the news. I was having my 4th kid, and I come home and my kids are running on the staircase. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what I want. Okay, you know what? Why don't you leave? Be in control of your time and manage the children this side a bit.
Time management.
Absolutely. So I left my job to a job I could control myself. I tried to create something. That meant I was in control, but I worked harder to get the money to survive. You know what I mean? But I chose to do that, and it was in time. And I tell people, children will grow. They've grown. My challenges with them are different. Oh, will they marry right? Oh, will they have the right job? Oh, you know what I mean? There's always something that will give you cause for concern, and you choose what's most important. Don't be guilty. Once I've chosen, right, I stick with what I choose and I work with it. I chose to be an entrepreneur, right? I manage my kids. My kids, they don't see me early, I come late, or in that time, at least I see them every day. They compromise, they were day students. What did that mean? I have to have a car and a driver that would do school run, because I couldn't do school run. And I wasn't apologetic at all. There were many. You guys take care of yourself.
So you had good
when you pick this
system.
one. Absolutely. Yeah. So harmony is about knowing that it's not always okay on both sides. But I'm okay with it not being okay here for now, and be okay here.
And also you had an understanding partner.
Yeah, the partner has to be understanding.
You know, supported you all the way.
Yeah, but again, when we talk about partners being supportive, it's making sure that you know what your roles are. What are our roles? Couples have to decide what are your roles. Who's paying the school fees? Who's paying house rent? Who's paying this? Who's cooking? Who's blowing noses?
Everything boils down to bills.
Yeah, bills.
We live to pay bills.
So if you're not working and I'm working, if I'm working together, if both of us have to work, 2 of us won't be there to be available to go to hospital now. So the day there's need to go to hospital, okay, which meeting is more important between your own and my own? Please do it. So my husband did a lot of end-of-year parties, which I couldn't do. I did some for him.
Appearances.
Absolutely. So we have to agree to agree. Let me not say disagree. So it's more about harmony, and it's more about, and a partnership is important. You asked about ultimate love, which is why for me, choosing the right partner is the key.
Absolutely.
But choosing the right partner starts with you being the right partner. You've got to know who you are. Absolutely. What can you take? What can you not take? And negotiate and let the fellow know you for who you are. Because as you are, because we all change by ourselves.
Absolutely.
We all evolve. Because nobody tells you how to be a wife or how to be a husband. Because people are different. When you become there are certain things you must agree to do. So in choosing is so critical. Because I tell my kids, when you choose, it's better for you to go in knowing it's forever. Then you will struggle to make it work. So make that choice very crucial.
We are all product of our choices. So
Absolutely.
You have to be careful. Many thanks
Absolutely.
for all your elaborate submission thus far. Oh my goodness, I'm so honored to have you today. Unfortunately, I have to quickly move to the last segment of the show, which I call Trending Stories. These are stories that binds us together as Nigerians, as African. And the first trending story that caught my attention is that of the Minister for Trade, Industry and Investment on budget of 1 billion for a Geneva trip. And before I bring your submission to fall, let me quickly say this, because you said a lot that, you know, when a good woman is appointed, which is one of your submission earlier, that when a good woman is appointed, you know, they deliver. And sometimes I find it very hard commenting on public issues because of some sentiments, because the person is a woman. I find it, you know, difficult to bring down my fellow woman, honestly. But this particular news, you know, requires objectivity and poses a question to all. And I like what you mentioned earlier that no, women are nurturers. When you find a good one, they will deliver on everything that they do. So when I see a few lapses that disturbs me, you know, I try to ignore all the red flags of we women supporting women, and I'm struggling with the inclusivity of how we can have more of women on the table. Yeah. And it is also because, you know, there's a need to support a fellow woman, you know, and to increase the numbers of governance in politics if we want to change, you know, that narrative that we deserve as women. Yeah. However, to be objective, we often have the mentality that the public office is also a means to enrich ourselves. I'm trying to keep it real on this platform, or to empower a few within our caucus, so to speak. So no, the public office is for patriotism, I must emphasize, and it's for us to serve, you know, a nation grappling with economic and financial challenges. The truth is that Nigeria does not even have enough revenue to fund an expensive state like Lagos, not alone all 36 states. So if there's a deep love for this country, why would one of us want to spend 1 billion, you know, to even, you know, not to even look for how many that can even empower the economy, you know, of our country, but also to go abroad to say that they want to use such funds in another country to empower another country. It doesn't even make sense to me, or doesn't add up as far as I'm concerned. The question now for the minister, if you ask me, for trade is because, should I be asking, is that what immediate returns will it fetch Nigerians if they go for this trip? What is it that the cost or the effectiveness of such a trip in Geneva or in Switzerland will bring to Nigeria is also what I'm asking in pain. Do we have enough in our national pulse to find it when over 70% or 70% are below poverty level? We need to set our priorities right. Some African countries did not even go for COP28 because of their own economic circumstances. So in defending our own budget, our response also was that, oh, Nigerians' results, you know, working from anywhere. Our office is currently under renovation. She further, you know, stated that, you know, there is no record of balance of trade, or at least it doesn't exist in the ministry. That is why they initiated, you know, all sorts. Ma, you mentioned earlier as well regarding data, and you said that life can only be more better when we have data. And I was shocked when this woman said that they don't have data. I'm just trying to measure my thoughts right now because I'm trying to understand where she's coming from, but I'm struggling with it. While I appreciate that our approach is ingenious, for lack of a better word right now in my head, but it doesn't justify or give satisfactory, you know, response or exhaustive research. I also like the fact that you were talking about research earlier, that's what you want to go into. We need research for women like this, so that tomorrow they will not go on national TV and be embarrassing us when it comes to data, which Nigerian Bureau of Statistics and the CBN have today. I think that we can do better by having Nigerians first at heart, creating the public office as our not as our personal business, but also to understand that we all need to come together to look for how to generate money, to look for how to add value to this country in terms of profit, and add immense, you know, maybe I should emphasize of that immense value, because it's really important for you to understand where we are economically in this country. So no one wants to ruin his or our own business, but the mentality is that we see it as if it's a national cake whenever we find ourselves in the public space. Ma, quickly, what's your take on this? Because these people, they start running commentary in my ear. They always make me like,
no, but I took a deep breath and said, Kike is venting. Oh goodness. Kike is just venting. And I can understand as a concerned Nigerian. But like you said, if it can be justified, we shouldn't be looking at the amount of money. And that a woman is a woman doesn't mean that she can't be corrupt. We are not saying that women can't be corrupt. We are saying that women are better likely to think about other people. But 1 billion is a lot of money. How many zeros are there? 9 zeros. Oh.
Yeah.
9 zeros. What is it for? How many people are going? What would Nigeria benefit? So my advice would be for women in office, the least you can do, at least to help those who are coming at the back and make people trust them, is to be as accountable as possible.
Exactly.
I'm not querying the amount of money if it is justified. However, I find it difficult to be able to justify that kind of money when people haven't even seen Gary to soak. It's going to be very difficult. So women are not saying so, but they're just more humane and natural. I don't know if we are losing that humaneness because of how vicious the world is, because possibly we need to spend more money. We need to, women are playing the role of daddy and mommy at the same time.
I know.
So they're just as vicious as a man who's there trying to get money.
Very aggressive.
Yeah, just vicious. Everybody, I mean, not necessarily, just ambitious, right? And wanting to make money because they need to make money. It might be the case. But however, nothing justifies spending public money for things that do not benefit the public.
All right, many thanks for all your insightful elaboration or submission on this conversation today. And I think my takeaway from all that you also shared, which was what I'm going to be using to, wrap up the show, is the fact that knowledge is power only if you use it. Absolutely. It's very important that you share that nuggets here on this platform. Many thanks, Ma,
my
for
pleasure.
creating time to be on the platform today. Courtesy, you are a resourceful guest. I do not take this for granted. Oh my God, after this, guys, I'm going to be hugging, I'll be taking pictures, I'll be doing all. So thank you so much for impacting the world, for people like us to emulate, to understand that there's no shortcut to success, and consistency is key. Do not, compromise with your body or any other thing. Thank you so much, and thank you so much. On that note, be kind to one another and bye now. Oh my God, I'm so happy.